Motorcycle fans, I know a lot of you have been waiting for the update on the underwater hurricane flooded Harley-Davidson CVO that we've been updating you on. Could not believe this motorcycle was a total loss.
Sooner or later, what happens? We always fix it. So I'm telling you, there's going to be a way.
I'm a realist, and I am for real believing that I don't think you guys can do anything with it.
Here's the deal. It comes down to dollars and cents. If you could buy this bike, say, for $4,000 or something like that, buy the bike.
I think we need to say a little prayer, Uncle Daddy.
The salt water will always tell you where it's been on a bike.
You just got to think outside the box, but you got to tear it apart to find out how bad it is. Kind of like hurricane victims. They have to tear it all apart to find out how bad it is.
Just think about the wiring, all the electronics.
It's just extra work, you know, which I evidently don't mind.
Water in these taillights.
I think what would be cool about this, but listen, again, I think you have a better chance of raising the Titanic and saving that.
This wasn't fresh water. Are you at all concerned about some of the damage that the salt water may have done here on this motorcycle?
Well, of course you're concerned, but you know, last I checked, when you take sweet candy and you mix it with salt, it's really salt and good and tasty. And usually you can come back and get more. So I'm going to try to find a little bit of sweet stuff to go with this salt and see if I can't make it right.
I love the optimism. The last update was Bert King of Barracuda Harley-Davidson said, let's go for it. Let's rebuild this bike. That was very controversial because some of you said, take that thing to the scrapyard. There's nothing worth saving. Well, we got a big update today because Bert, the eternal optimist, has started to tear this bike apart. So come on with me, Gunner. We're gonna dissect the damage. We're gonna look at some of the carnage. We got Uncle Daddy and Bert here. I'll tell you what though, before we get to these experts, why don't we get some clips of Chino taking this thing apart?
I can see the positive wire looking like the Statue of Liberty. Woo! Oh yeah, boys, look at that. It actually looks pretty cool. I should probably make sure I'm up to date on my tetanus shots.
This is going to be educational and informative, so thank you, Moto Chino. I can't wait to see the carnage. And yeah, for those of you, including myself, who thought this bike looked pretty good from the outside, take a look at the inside.
Oh. Look at that, the whole connector just came out with it.
Salt water is just so very unforgiving.
Came out okay. It's got some pretty decent insulation there. Definitely gonna need a new fuse block. That's for sure.
Okay, great. A few things are salvageable, but is this bike really worth saving?
Oh, curious to see how the intake looks. Pretty sure water got in there.
Pretty cool educational experience for these techs and for us, and you got to hand it to Bert King. He is an optimist.
That's salt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those are salt crystals.
Yes, Chino, that's about a pound of salt, and oh, look at the intake. Ouch. Popcorn, anyone?
Look at that throttle. So I'm about to pull out the spark plug and let's see what we got inside.
This plug will be telling.
Oh my God.
If the plug is that bad, I'm scared to see the head.
Would you look at that? I think it's safe to say that this thing is toast. What do you want to do, Bert? Alright, let's pull the rear. Not so bad. Looks pretty dry. Alright, let's open the primary.
I've been waiting for this because we wanted to see just how far the salt water made it. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Clean up in aisle 5. Oh man. Sludge. Look at that.
I ask you again in the comments, is this bike worth saving?
You can save this. That's my toxic trait. I can save her. That's crazy. Brandon. Hey! Let's go see how the transmission looks. Ooh.
Oh man, is that paint?
Yes.
And what do we got going on in there? Is that a swimming pool? Yikes.
Alright, so we're taking off the head. Come over this way.
I can't wait to see this.
Feature reference, don't ever use this. Try. There you go. I'm doing this for learning purposes. Look at that. Look at all that water coming out. Yeah, buddy. Uh-huh. You got all this?
Mm-hmm.
Look at down there.
She's a gusher.
This is insane.
I have never seen anything quite like this. Where are my optimists at now?
Close up to this head right here. Wow.
Whoa.
All right, there goes the valves. Toast. Let's look at the inside.
Look over there. Woo, yeah.
That's all
Yummy.
water. All rust and water. And salt water at that.
Mm-hmm.
New engine. Dip frame. Are we going CVO RR? We're doing race replica. Performance. Cholo. Naked bike.
I say yes to all of it.
Yeah, we can go anywhere here. Maybe a custom Aquaman themed or Titanic themed bike, sailor themed. Who knows? Phoenix rising from the ashes.
That sounds about right, Chino. I just wonder after all this, will Bert abandon ship?
There's some cylinders still.
Yeah, there's some metal in there. There's some surface still.
If it's that bad up there, probably seek down to the crankcase area.
Woo, thank you, Chino. And I gotta say, I knew this thing would be bad, but it was worse than I thought. And I think for us common men, if we were doing this project, you have to weigh the cost of repairing this versus just going to buy a nice used CVO. The question is, will Bert continue? Remember, this is all about a feel-good story. That's how this started. It was about uplifting all these hurricane victims. And if you didn't see our last video, Bert wants to make this thing a CVO 131 RR race replica. There's only 131 of those bikes out, so Bert wanted to make one that looks just like a CVO RR that we could give away. But is that still the plan? We got to check in with Bert and Uncle Daddy after this absolute Titanic of a mess. All right, guys, so come on in here. As you saw, we got to get Bert and Uncle Daddy, and I guess the first thing is I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm going to give an official pat on the back because I got to say, two guys I respect, Paul Sr., Uncle Daddy, they had conflicting views. I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards Uncle Daddy as Titanic, not salvageable.
This is not Apollonia taking a dip in Lake Minnetonka. Do you know what I'm saying?
You know your history. You're very knowledgeable.
This is the Titanic at the bottom of the saltwater ocean that we brought up. You know what I'm saying? That's where my opinion was.
I don't know. The gas pedal here still works, buddy. I don't know.
Fucking me, such an optimist.
Well, look! I want you to see. I want you to see.
Yeah.
That's the
Take
rust.
a look in there, Gunner.
I mean, it looks like baby diarrhea.
Yeah, oh goodness. Oh goodness.
That's what happens when it gets submerged.
Here's what I love about the story, though, and I love about you. I think if it was the common man, and maybe Uncle Daddy agrees with me on this. Look at
Salt.
this. Look at this.
Look at the salt.
You know, if it was the common man, if it was me, I would have given up. I would have shopped for a used CVO. You're not the common man, and you're all about a good story. So that's what I love. We said this is about symbolism. This is about taking something that was destroyed in the hurricane and making it something special.
Well, you think about it. First of all, when our customer donated this to the charity, that was enough for me, okay, to resurrect and bring it up.
Sylvan from Canada. Thank you,
And there's
Sylvan.
a lot of things on this motorcycle you are not going to be able to salvage. We know that. But at the end of the day, we are a shop, and it's mechanical, so anything can get repaired. It just may not be worth it, right? So what we're going to do with this bike is we're going to tear it completely apart, get rid of all the stuff that we cannot use. You know, get rid of all this stuff, and the stuff that we can use, we are going to re-dip it, we're going to re-clean it, we're going to reclassify it, we're going to repaint it, and we're going to make it look like a replica RR 131.
How about
so it won't even
that? How
have the
about
same
that?
motor, okay?
I love it.
When it's all said and done.
Yes.
If you think about it, if I was going to take this motor and turn it into a 131, what would we do, Ralph? You'd yank it out anyway, right?
Yeah.
So why not?
I
Hey,
think
it defines your motto. We work on everything.
That's exactly right. That's exactly. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I will also go out there and tell somebody, if someone does this, okay, it's not the least inexpensive way to do it.
No.
By far.
No.
But for charity purposes, fundraising and all, someone donated. What was this bike brand new, Ralph?
Oh, 40, 45,000?
45, 50 grand bike. And it was completely a mess.
Yeah, terrible.
I mean, it's a totaled out motorcycle from all purposes, right? So we're going to resurrect it, and we're going to show people what it takes to put one back together, okay?
Here's what I think is cool. The fact that, we've said it before, only 131 RRs were made. Of those, how many people do you really think got to buy one? Because
60, 70,
a lot
maybe,
of the owners
right? Yeah.
kept them for themselves.
Right.
They hoarded them.
Right.
Okay?
They're gonna be hanging in bars
They're
and
going to send them to
showrooms.
Mecum auction, things like that. Bert said, no, fuck that. Our customers are getting them. So we sold our customers those bikes. One already took delivery.
That's right.
So he said, you know what? How about we turn this son of a bitch and we make our own 131 RR, and we'll call it the BVO, the Bert's Vehicle Operation.
I like it.
BVO.
RR.
I like it.
The BVO.
And we make a
RR.
replica to the RR.
Right.
I've got a paint shop.
Yes.
We've got the metal. There's a lot on here we will be able to salvage, but the expensive stuff we won't, and that we'll rebuild.
Well, it's definitely a cool project, and we're going to follow it along, and you are invited. That's why we want you to subscribe, because we'll give you every step of the way. Let's talk about this now from a practical standpoint. What is salvageable? We know we got a frame that's going to need dipped, engines coming out. I'm sure all the electronics toast. Tins are good, Uncle Daddy.
Tins are good.
Tins,
What-
all this polypropylene and plastic and stuff like that, you'll be able to salvage. We'll have to check out, I don't know about this. I don't know if this got in the water or not.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if we'll be able to salvage the screen or not, but we're going to find out. We'll have to test it, go through it, But the wiring harness is going to be completely have to be all brand new. There's no way around that. Okay, all the anything that's metal. I don't think we can salvage the wheels. I don't know. Can we, Ralph? Can we powder coat these and dip them? I don't think so. I know the brakes are done, the shocks are done. So really, you got tins and a frame.
Now you know why those northern guys love their lake boats and not saltwater boats. That saltwater's hot on a
Still,
cliff.
I can keep the mirror.
Oh,
Look at the mirror.
there you
still
go.
Good.
Well, speaking of the northern guys too, I got to call out my one friend, the guy who watched us back in October, who said this is why we have winter up north. Are you sure? How many winters would you really need? And here's the question I got to pose to Uncle Daddy too, because we already know Bert's standpoint. For a feel-good story, this is happening. If this was one of your customers, would you recommend going for this, or would you just try to go get them a nice used CVO?
The only reason, like I said, because of what Bert is doing and how this bike came to us, is why the story's being born and why it's going to go from there. But if this was a normal circumstances and somebody brought me this in, I would sell this to Carnival Cruise Lines as an anchor.
Well, what happens on a bike like this, if you have insurance, that is, okay? The insurance company is immediately going to total it, okay? They're going to sell it at a salvage auction, and it's going to be a branded title. Somebody's going to buy it. Someone's going to clean it up before it looks like this, and they're going to sell it to somebody down the street, and they're not going to really know what they're buying. That's what happens with these
There's
things.
a lot of those for sale right now. You go on those, and they're wanting all the money for them. You go on Marketplace, these people selling these flooded out Hellcats, for 50, 60 grand. That's exactly what they did. They fixed what they could, they detailed it, and now they're selling them as branded vehicles. Will not be a branded. This will be a regular frame CVO 2023.
Correct.
Yeah, this won't be that.
Correct,
brand.
because we're going to restore it, and anything
No
can be
claim has been
restored.
made.
It's just not like I said, it's not cost effective.
Yeah, so this wasn't a claim.
So once again, our people, our employees will donate their time because it's a charity. Okay.
Sure.
And we're not doing this to make a big profit or anything like this. 'Cause
No.
we're going to use this to raise money, and we're going to save some veterans' life. And it's a good process, and it's a good thing for everybody to know what it really takes.
Just so
What
you
really
guys know,
happens.
this luggage rack is salvageable.
All right.
Oh, is
there
it?
We
Right
found
now.
something.
This luggage
We
rack is
found
salvageable.
something. License plate holder looks good.
Salvageable.
Good stuff. Well, talking about what's next, and you guys weigh in with your thoughts down below in the comments as well. We're going to try to hit up the aftermarket industry, and we're going to see if maybe they can donate some parts to us, and we can get this as close to a CVO RR as we can. Now, I've thrown out an option for you. What do you think about trying to find another a crashed bike or a blown up bike as a parts bike, as a donor bike? What is the most affordable way to go about this? Because as you said, it's for charity, but we got to make sure your cost doesn't get so high that there's nothing left for the charity, right?
Right. Well, there's going to be availability on collision bikes to where we might be able to salvage some of those parts that are good, because if the front end's hit, the back end's good, as an example, and vice versa. You know, there might be some of that along the way. But the truth of the matter is we want to look at all options, okay? And we're going to put it out there for everybody to see what those options are. And then they're going to know what they're getting. You know, whoever wins this motorcycle will know it is right, it is ready, okay? It's not something that they're gonna have to shy away from or wake up a year from now and go, well, why is it like this, okay? It won't be. This is gonna be completely restored.
I can't wait to see it, guys. Thanks so much. I do appreciate it. We got a lot coming on this. Make sure you smash subscribe, and you're invited to come along on this journey.